Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Glad you could join me. And I'm in the beautiful Abel Tasman Park at the moment, and I thought I would do a little video for you guys while I'm on my lunch break. And yeah, so disclaimer, if you see me swatting and things, there's a few sandflies around, so I'm trying not to get bitten. But yeah, the topic on this one is called Vengeance for God. And it came to mind based on a scripture that I was meditating on, and also an experience I had where I went to this movie. And I'll explain later, but just before I get into it, a really thing I'm actually quite enjoying is whenever I go out walking and getting into nature, is I write down like a Bible verse on a sticky note, and I just constantly read it over and memorize it. And yeah, I just think it's very, I don't know, I found it's just really working for me and helping me to really deep deep dive on a scripture. So yeah, I highly encourage you guys to do that. But back to the topic, and I pulled out this a scripture of what I was just doing before, and it was tied into this movie that I looked at. My friend invited me to go watch a Dune 2. So disclaimer: I don't promote go to watch this movie. To be honest, I haven't seen a Hollywood movie in years, but my friend wanted to go, so I joined him. And to be frank, guys, I was honestly shocked at how much um, blasphemy, uh, versions of the truth that were in that movie, and I just kind of wanted to relay it to the scripture and break it down to the comparisons between, you know, what this movie was saying and what God says in His Word, right? So this Bible verse that I've been meditating on, this one is in Romans 12 verse 19, and I'll read it first. So it says, "Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord." And I love this verse, right? Because as believers, followers of Christ, we can see all this wicked going on. And sometimes it's, especially when I was very new to the faith, and even before I was a Christian, I was very angry where the world was heading and how all these wicked people get away with things, right? But going back to the movie now, there's so many things in this movie. It's like I can honestly make another video on it, but I just want to break down the key things. So essentially, in this movie, right, this guy, he gains control of an army and becomes like this godlike figure. And it's interesting that in this army there's two people. There's people who believe that he's a messiah, like a god who's meant to come and rescue them out of this depression that they're in. And then there's another side of people who are not believers, who don't believe it's God, right? So he essentially becomes a leader of this army and a godlike figure, and he leads this army out to many victories, to the point where he actually ends up revenging his dad's death and killing this figure, which in the movie is pretty much just this New World Order evil oppressor. It's what it's representing in my eye. And since he's having all these victories, and what's quite funny is the believers of these armies, they're even using biblical terms like "it is written" and "the prophecies are being fulfilled." It's literally crazy how much they're ripping off the Bible. So the believers, they're starting to actually get more and more excited about him being the Messiah, their God, and how he's helping them overcome the oppressive power that he's in, right? But it's interesting how this mentality is what the disciples used to think, right? They used to think that just Jesus was going to overtake the Romans and build up this empire on earth, right? So you can already see that there's an inversion going on in this story. And based on the scripture, Romans 12:19, we're taught not to go seeking at our enemies for revenge, right? God has said revenge is His; He will repay. So we have to trust His word that that is the case. So this godlike figure in this movie, the key main characteristics of him is he's seeking revenge, bloody sandfires. He's seeking revenge. He's he's gaining control and power and going into battle, becoming a good fighter, going into these wars. There's lots of death going on. He's doing all these things, right? And you can see how it's a total contrary to what Jesus was like. And so I want to bring up Ephesians 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So, so we know it's a spiritual thing. It's not, we're not taught to go into wars and battle and fight against our enemies. That's not what God is calling us to do. So if we take all these characteristics that Hollywood is teaching people about this supposed Messiah, it's all battle, wrath, control, power, all worldly things, right? If we compare it to Jesus' life, what did he do? He was humble, he was meek, he washed his disciples' feet, he healed people, he discipled them, he taught them, um, he taught that it was better to give rather than receive, to pray for your enemies, to feed them, give them water. He gave up his own life for us, right, at the cross. So you can see this direct comparison between Hollywood's version and the Bible, right? But yeah, like I said, I don't encourage you to watch that movie. There's this, you can see how Satan is using these films to invert God's character and to plant these seeds in people's minds about how God is. So we have to be very, very careful what we watch, what we listen to, and all these things. But you know, Satan does. He always puts some truth into these films, right? Like, I couldn't believe it where they actually were talking about the Jesuit power and, you know, obviously prophecies and, you know, all these biblical terms they were using. And yeah, it's a big one. I might honestly do a video on it. We'll see how it goes. But in summary, guys, I just want to say that, you know, we either believe the world or we believe God. And this Bible verse that I've just been meditating on is really just making me believe that this is to trust God. This is what His plan is. This is what He is doing, and we have to be at peace with what's going on in the world and trust that He's going to do what He's going to do. All right, guys, that's just a quick little video of what I've stumbled upon and just comparing this Bible verse to just a real life scenario that I've gone through. And yeah, I encourage you guys to meditate on that Bible verse and to put your trust in God. Thank you guys for watching. Please share this with friends and like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.